Ruaha National Game Park, and Ruaha National Game Park is the largest game park in Tanzania and also the largest game park in East Africa. So quite often they ask us to mention the largest game park in East Africa. The largest game park in East Africa is Ruaha National Game Park. It is found in Tanzania. There is Mahale Mountains National Game Park. Also we have Arusha National Game Park. There is Tarangire National Game Park. We also have Mikumi National Game Park. There is Katavi National Game Park. And we also have Mount Kilimanjaro National Game Park, Rubondo National Game Park, Uduzungwa National Game Park, and all those ones are found in Tanzania. And I said the largest game park in Tanzania is Ruaha National Game Park. As well, it is the largest game park in East Africa. So when they ask you to mention the largest game park in East Africa, simply say Ruaha National Game Park. Then in Burundi, sorry, in Rwanda, we have Nyungwe Forest National Game Park, Akagera National Game Park, and Volcanoes National Game Park. So Volcanoes National Game Park in Rwanda is also known for, is also famous for mountain gorillas. So if you don't find them, if you can't reach Mogahinga National Game Park and Nibandubuini Impenetrable Forest National Game Park, but you want to see mountain gorillas in Rwanda, just go to Volcanoes. You visit Volcanoes National Game Park. So in Rwanda, we mainly have Nyungwe Forest, Akagera, and Volcanoes National Game Parks. Then in Burundi, we have Rusizi National Game Park. We also have Chibira National Game Park and Ruvubu National Game Park. So all those are game parks found in Burundi. So you can see that East Africa has got a lot of wildlife and very many conservation areas for wildlife. So most of the tourists who come to East Africa, among all other things, they come to visit the game parks and the game reserves, meaning they come to see our wildlife. So if you find any person if you find any person who is not respecting the wildlife of our country, that person is an enemy to our country's resources. So we need to protect the birds in the environment, let us protect the insects in the environment, and let us protect the wild animals in the environment, because they attract tourists who bring income. And we said they are also source of jobs. So you're going to get your atlas and look at tourism in East Africa. You're going to find the location of all those game parks on the map. Then, after knowing about the game parks and examples of game parks, then let us look at game reserves and what a game reserve is. Many people cannot make a difference between a game park and a game reserve. The similarity between the two is that both of them protect wildlife. They are all created to preserve wildlife. But a game reserve is a large area of land protected by government to preserve wildlife for future development into a game park. So a game reserve has not yet been developed into a game park, but there is a possibility that it can in the future be developed into a game park. So that's why we say a game reserve is a large area of land protected by government to preserve wildlife for future development into a game park. So what are the examples of game reserves? Examples of game reserves in Uganda. We have Matheniko Wild Reserve. Matheniko Wildlife Reserve, that one is found in northeastern Uganda. There is also Bokora Wildlife Reserve. We have Piani Upe Wildlife Reserve, Torosemuliki Wildlife Reserve, Ajai Wildlife Reserve. We also have Bugungu Wildlife Reserve and also Chambura Wildlife Reserve. All these are found in Uganda. And we hope they will in the future be developed into game parks. So if wild animals are not preserved in the game parks, they can also be preserved in the game reserves. And we said they are preserved in game parks, in game reserves, in sanctuaries, and also zoos. So I want us to look at what a sanctuary is and examples of sanctuaries that we have in East Africa. So a sanctuary is an area where a certain species of wild animals or birds are protected and encouraged to breed. There are some animals that we can call they are endangered. They are almost facing extinction. They will very soon get finished. So such animals, we find places. Such animals we have got like rhinos. We have very few rhinos in the world, and Uganda in particular. So for such animals, what we do, we find the government finds places where they can be protected in order, and also encouraging them to breed such that they can produce more others, not to face extinction. I mean, not to get finished. So we say sanctuary is an area where a certain species of wild animals or birds are protected and encouraged to breed. Examples of sanctuaries we have in Uganda, in East Africa. We have Ngamba Island. That is a sanctuary for chimpanzees in Uganda. It is just here in Lake Victoria, a few kilometers from Entebbe. So what you see there, you see a signpost saying, "Welcome to Ngamba Island, Chimpanzee Sanctuary." And that is a chimpanzee in Ngamba Island. So as soon as you reach Ngamba, you find that signpost welcoming you to Ngamba Island. So in the next slide, you are going to see some chimpanzees also in their good time. You can see there is one eating a jackfruit. So those are chimpanzees. We need to protect them. And if you want to see as many chimpanzees as you can, just go to Ngamba Island. We said Ngamba Island is a sanctuary for chimpanzees in Uganda. When you go there, you are going to see very many of them. So whoever wants to see chimpanzees and in large numbers, just go to Ngamba Island. The chimpanzees are protected from there. Then also, we said we have Lake Nakuru National Game Park. And we said Lake Nakuru National Game Park is a sanctuary for flamingo birds. So in the next slide, you're going to see the flamingo birds at Lake Nakuru. You can see those are flamingo birds at Lake Nakuru. So when you go there, you really find them in their peaceful environment. They enjoy life there. So those are the flamingo birds. If you want to see very many flamingo birds in East Africa, just go to Lake Nakuru. You'll enjoy looking at those birds in large numbers. Then you'll appreciate nature. And you're going to appreciate our wildlife. Then we talked about Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. It is a sanctuary for rhinos. So the Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary is found in Nakasongola, in Uganda. So what you see, those are the rhinos. Those are the rhinos in Ziwa Sanctuary. in Nakasongola. Also in the next slide, you can also see the rhinos. Also those ones are rhinos. The rhinos are very few all over the world. And particularly in Uganda, they are very few. You will not just find them anywhere. If you want to see the rhinos, maybe you can go to the zoo. That is Uganda Wildlife Education Center. You can see one or two. When you go to, if you want to see very many of them, then you really enjoy looking at the rhinos. You just go to Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. But how did the rhinos become very few like this? Most of the rhinos were killed for their horn. People killed the rhinos for their horn. More especially during the time of the Arab trade, very many of them were killed to get their horn for trade. And that's why you see we have very few of them. And they may face extinction at any time. Only that the good thing is that we have got the sanctuary where they can be protected. And we said, what is a sanctuary? A sanctuary is an area where a certain species of birds or animals are protected and encouraged to breed. So whenever they ask you to define what a sanctuary is, you simply say sanctuary is an area where certain species of wild animals or birds are protected and encouraged to breed. Examples of sanctuaries, we have talked about Ngamba Island, which is a sanctuary for chimpanzees. Lake Nakuru National Game Park, which is a sanctuary for flamingo birds. And the Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary, which is a sanctuary for rhinos in Nakasongola. Then let us look at what a zoo is. What do we mean by a zoo? So a zoo is an area where wild animals and birds are kept and protected on a small scale for the public to see. So in a zoo, they only have animals, actually some few, and for each species of animals that are there, that is there, they have just a few. You may find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For some few that are like monkeys, then you may find many. But in a zoo, they have very few animals and birds, just mainly for the public to see. Because we have some people who may not be able to go to Ngamba Island to see the chimpanzees. When you go to the zoo, you will be able to see it. You may not be able to go to Savo to see the lions, or you may not be able to go to Queen Elizabeth to see the lions. What we do, you go to the zoo. You will find there some few that you will be able to see. So that's why we say a zoo is an area which is protected by the government, where wild animals and birds are kept and protected on a small scale for the public to see. And in Uganda, we have only one zoo. That is Uganda Wildlife Education Center. In most cases, it is abbreviated as UWEC. Before it became Uganda Wildlife Education Center, it was called Entebbe Zoo. And up to now, you'll hear people saying, I'm going to Entebbe Zoo. Which is not wrong, by the way. But you should only know that it is no longer called Entebbe Zoo. It is now called Uganda Wildlife Education Center. It is very important, by the way, because when tourists visit Uganda Wildlife Education Center, they bring income to the country. So it is a tourist attraction. It is also a source of employment, and it is used for educational research. So in the next slides, you are going to see the view. You are going to see the view of Uganda Wildlife Education Center. So when you reach the zoo, that is the reception you get. It is a very nice place to look at. You really enjoy being at the zoo. All of those are some of the animals that we have at the zoo. Those ones you see are the models of the giraffes right at the reception. Also in the next slide, you can see the crested crane. a very beautiful bird for the country, but it is in the zoo. So if you want to see the different species of animals, you can also go at the zoo. Only that at the zoo, they keep a small number of animals and birds for the public to see, just for public viewing. That's what happens at the zoo. But how are the game parks important? Are the game parks important to people? Are they important to the country? Yes, they are. So, one, they are a source of employment to people. So game parks are a source of employment to people. There are people who are employed as game wardens, game rangers, tour guides, all those people, the drivers who will always take the tourists around. That's why we say game parks are sources of employment. They attract tourists who bring income. So game parks attract tourists who bring income. They are used for study purpose. Students go there for educational research. They help to conserve vegetation, which modifies climate. Because to preserve wildlife, you have to preserve their habitats. So when we protect the game parks, we have to protect the vegetation which is there in order to provide habitat for the wild animals, which is okay. So we shall have good climate. That's why we say they help to conserve vegetation, which modifies climate. They conserve wildlife for future generations to see. So our wildlife is protected in game parks, such that even our children and grandchildren will also get to see them. But what happens if there are no game parks? People are going to kill all the animals. So meaning our children will not be able to see them, and they will only hear that there are wild animals in game parks. Because all of them will have been destroyed, killed. So game parks help to conserve wildlife for future generations to see. But much as we have said that game parks are very important, they also face some problems, and some of these problems are caused by people. I think those who may not understand the importance of game parks. So we look at the importance of game parks and so the problems facing game parks and game reserves. One is poaching. The illegal hunting of wild animals in game parks and game reserves. That is poaching. Another one is bush burning. People burn to set the bushes on fire. We also have human encroachment on game parks and game reserves. There are people who encroach on the land for game parks and game reserves. They begin carrying out agriculture. And also we have drought. Whenever there is drought, there is shortage of water and pasture, because the water sources will dry up and also the pasture will dry up. What happens? The animals will die. That's why we're saying drought, which leads to shortage of water and pasture. We also have a problem of deforestation, whereby people cut down the trees without replacing them, and hence destroying the habitats for these wild animals. So we look at why people practice poaching. Reason is why people practice poaching. And what do we mean by poaching? Because we have seen that poaching is one of the biggest problems wild animals face in game parks. And we're saying that poaching is the illegal hunting of wild animals from game parks and game reserves. Illegal means unlawful. You do it without permission. You do it when it is not allowed. That's why you say poaching is the illegal hunting of wild animals from game parks, and it is very dangerous. Because when people practice poaching, what happens? The animals will get finished in the game parks. So we say animals will become extinct. Some animals will become extinct because people are killing them. But why do they practice poaching? One. So people practice poaching because of the following reasons. Among them, one, they want to get meat. People practice poaching because they want to get meat. Most of that meat from the wild animals is eaten by people, and it is very delicious. Though we are not encouraged to eat meat from the wild animals because it can spread diseases. You see, when COVID-19, it is said that it originated from the market of wild animals in Wuhan, in China. So it is not good to eat the meat of wild animals. It can lead to spread of diseases. At one time, Ebola was also blamed on people who eat monkeys in DRC. So you see that it is not good to eat meat from the wild animals, though people carry out poaching to get meat, but we should not eat it. Also, people practice poaching to get hides and skins. They need those hides and skins for different purposes. They also want to get ivory from elephants. People who kill elephants, they don't kill them for anything else, but they kill them for their ivory. They also practice poaching because they want to kill the animals that destroy their crops, more especially those people who have crops near the game parks. They kill them because the animals are also destroying their crops. Others kill them because the animals also kill their livestock. You have your goats, you have your cattle, so the people will always kill them because they are also killing their livestock. And lastly, I want to say thank you very much for being part of this program. Thanks for being part of this lesson. Somera Muddiro lyo. With me, Mr. Namonyo Cyrus from Mugwanya Preparatory School, Kabojja. Please, as I go out of this classroom, make sure you respect and follow the standard operating procedures, because COVID-19 is very real. So it is now personal responsibility to protect yourself from COVID-19. I wish you a good day and a good week. Sabasajja awangale.
Bw'osomeseza omwana wo mu masomero ga Giant Schools omuli kampasi y'Ebombo Kalule n'ey'e Kabalagala toba na bweraliikirivu bwonna olw'omusingi okutambuzibwa ebyenjigiriza n'ensoma y'abayizi ey'omulembe. Mu masomero gaffe gano gonna tusomesa arts ne sciences okuviira ddala ku siniya esooka okutuuka ku siniya ey'omukaaga, nga tusomesa abaana okuviira ddala ku mutendero gwa kindergarten okutuuka ku kibiina eky'omusanvu. Tulina abasomesa abakugu mu kubangula abaana n'okubateekateeka. Ebibiina abaana mwe basomera eby'omulembe omuli buli kimu ekikwata ku ebyo bye basoma, ebisuula ebyazimbibwa obulungi, ebigazi ate nga biyonjo. Okumanya ebisingawo tukubire ku nnamba z'essimu ez'owammanga.